Okay, hello everyone. My name is Megan and I'm an occupational therapy student at KU Medical Center.
And my name is Leah, and I am a social work student at KU doing an internship at the KU Alzheimer's Disease Center.
So, as part of our Mindful Minutes, we've started this Words from the Inside series, and we'll be interviewing someone who has a dementia diagnosis or a mild cognitive impairment and kind of see their perspectives to share with everyone else. So, our very first guest is Alan. And Alan, if you would go ahead and maybe share a little bit about your diagnosis and a little bit about your background.
Sure, absolutely, Megan. So in April of last year, 2021, I was diagnosed by the neurology team at the KU Alzheimer's Clinic with mild cognitive impairment and early stage Lewy body dementia or dementia with Lewy bodies. Um, and so that was kind of the peak, if you will, as far as once getting the diagnosis. That was followed up by a series of other visits with neuropsych to help confirm it, do further testing, and so on and so forth. But where I got there was my background is I was a global program manager for a Fortune 50 technology company. And I managed multi-million dollar projects globally. And some of those projects were going on at different parts of the globe simultaneously. But I began to notice, this was about 3-4 years ago, I began to notice that while I was a high functioning executive level senior manager, I began to have a lot of situations where I uh, confused a lot of steps, a lot of processes. Got confusion between who was doing what and how. And when you're managing multi-million dollar projects in different time zones and different languages, that can lead to a mess. Um, and I began to notice that I had to do a lot of um, daily refresh via lists or whatever kind of electronic media that I had. And then that even melded down into having to be reminded of just daily chores, daily things like remembering to take medicine for various issues and things like that, misplacing items. And um, so in discussions with my primary care physician and my wife, we felt like this was not normal aging. We felt like it was something else. And so that's what led us down the path. Because my mother has Alzheimer's. I do have a sibling that has Lewy body dementia. He's older than me. I didn't assume or think that it was anything like that. I thought it was something like a vitamin deficiency or thyroid or yeah, I don't know what I thought it was, but I certainly didn't think it was MCI or Lord knows LBD.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. I'm also wondering, I know you live in a rural community, and I know rural communities can be great for a lot of reasons, but they do have some downsides too. I'm just wondering if you could kind of share how living in a rural community has kind of influenced your life since receiving this diagnosis.
Yeah, Leah, it's a good news, bad news kind of thing. I really think, I always like to, I'm a glass, half full kind of guy. So I'll start with the positive side of things. Uh, we moved here from Overland Park 4 years ago, but we have a deep history to the area where we live. Um, Southeast of Emporia. My wife's entire family, her grandfather and great grandfather, and many of our uncles were farmers in this area. And my wife's family has farm ground down here, and so we decided a number of years ago to open a vineyard and start growing wine grapes. And one thing led to another, and we had two brothers that lived, or my wife had two brothers that lived down here in this area. And so one thing led to another, and we decided as empty nesters to downsize out of Overland Park and buy an older farmhouse. You can kind of see the old farm, the old phone on the wall and the woodwork. And so we live in this farmhouse. So the positive side to this is that uh, I live in an area, and I'm involved in something that keeps me outdoors, which is what I love. It's in this beautiful part of the country. We're in a small town with lots of fabulous neighbors. And that comes with everybody knows kind of what you're doing too. There's some of that, but so we're in a small town with lots of good family and friends and neighbors. Um, we live very close proximity to where we spend most of our time. And I'm able to continue to do a lot of physical activity, which is beneficial for someone with Lewy body, and the challenges that I have. The downside to that is I don't have in the Emporia area. I don't have there's not a single neurologist on staff down here. There's only one cardiologist on staff here. There's no pulmonologist on staff here. So where I'm going with this is to get the type of medical care that someone in their 60s with the type of diagnosis that I have. I have to make trips to Kansas City, um, which creates challenges for my wife, who has to drive me and schedule and do those kinds of things. There's services and things that are also available in Kansas City that are not available down here, just due to the smaller market. And so while I have an incredible environment to enjoy my life and be in the outdoors, and I have this fantastic support system, some of the specialists that I need, social workers, counselors, medical specialists, they're not here. So.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I kind of wanted you to talk a little bit more about how you felt when you first received your diagnosis and kind of that process that you went through, from your perspective.
Yeah, Megan, I think back to the comment that I made, I, you could kind of tell that I think I was in denial that, and so was my wife, that it was anything serious. I think the dumbest thing that we did was the day of my appointment at KU, I drove myself to Kansas City. uh, we had something come up in the vineyard, and to this day, Cindy and I can't even recall. It was so insignificant that even today, Cindy and I can't remember what it was that kept her here. But we made this stupid decision between the two of us that this is probably just a normal doctor visit, and that's a vitamin deficiency or something with a thyroid, and they'll give me some new pills to pop, or a new diet, and so why don't you stay and take care of whatever that insignificant thing is. When you have two neurologists that are Mayo Clinic trained lean across the table, and they look you in the eye and they tell you, our advice is to get your affairs in order. Our advice is that you should make sure that you have a financial plan and your will and transition, because what you have is a terminal condition, and you're alone, and your partner of, I'm 62, I've known my wife since I was 9. We haven't been married that long, but I've known her since I was 9 years old. Someday, if you want a Romeo and Juliet story that has a really good ending, maybe we can record that. But here's my life partner 125 miles away. And what a gut punch. It was, people get these kinds of diagnoses every day. People get told they have small cell cancer. People get told they have brain tumors that are inoperable. Young children have these maladies that are going to affect them all their life. It was a tough one. And I'll be honest with you, I went through a period of, it was pretty dark. What helped me was social services out of KU. In addition to that electronic lifeline through KU, plus the advice to stay off the internet, don't read stuff on Facebook. What didn't help me was I already knew about this disease. I'm watching an older sibling go through it. So and he's a few years ahead of me. And so I can see some of the challenges ahead. It took Cindy and I a number of weeks to get through it. I don't think we told our kids for about a month before we leveled with our children, even though they kept badgering, Dad went to the doctor, how is he doing? My daughter, the DPT, had already noticed my shuffling on my feet and limited gait. And I think she was thinking it was Parkinson's coming on. But where we've come is actually a great part of this story too, I think, Megan and Leah, and that is that we've come to accept it. We've come to the realization that really, when you think about it, every human being on the planet is terminal. We're all terminal. We're all gonna die of something someday. All my life, I've dedicated myself to some kind of service. 20 some years as a scout leader. I made 10 or so trips to the Panama rainforest to help indigenous personnel there. I taught English to Spanish speakers, English as second language. So Cindy and I sat and said, okay, what can we do about this? How can we take this diagnosis and not dwell on it, but live the best possible life that we can live? Okay, there's going to be some changes. Yeah, all right, fine. There's changes. But how can we then take what we experience, flip that around, share that with others, and help others that, you know, the people next week, next month, next year, they're going to be where I was a year ago, you know, at this time. You know, make sure that somebody doesn't go into the neurologist's office alone and get that kind of news. And I'm not faulting any of the doctors. That was, I mean, news is news and diagnosis is diagnosis. So that's where we've come. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to, you know, share my story with you guys today and talk about it.
Yeah. Alan, thank you so much for sharing your story. I think like your story is so powerful, and I'm sure there are so many other people out there that have experienced something similar about feeling down and just feeling like the gut punch, you know, that you said after receiving a diagnosis. But I think you make such a good point that there is so much good life still left to live. Lots of good life to do and people to be around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see some of the most beautiful sunrises and sunsets in what I do. There, every morning when I get to see a sunrise, or if we work late in the field and we see a sunset, and I think about the people that live in cities that don't get to see that, and I get to see it anytime I want, and it's just this magnificent piece of art right there in front of me. I get to see the bluest skies whenever I want to go out and work outside. There's so many positive things that I get to do that other people don't get to do because of where I live and what I'm allowed to do. Just those alone, how can you not, you know, face each day with a smile? So I feel very blessed. I know some things that people have asked me if I can throw this in, and people have asked me, you know, you've gotten this diagnosis. Do you wish you could go back and change what you know? Number one, you can't unlearn something like this. You can't know something like this. And why would you? Because first of all, I know something about that explains a lot of crazy things that I deal with every day. And I don't have to sit back and go, wonder why I feel like that, or wonder why my legs aren't working, or wonder why, you know, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, I had 8 hours of sleep. Why don't I feel like I need to take a nap? I'm only 62, for crying out loud. I know some things that it's very freeing. It's incredibly liberating. And that allow me then to say, okay, fine, I know these things. I know what my limitations are. Therefore, I know some things that I can do, and I appreciate them so much more when I get a chance to do them. I don't know if that makes sense to you. But you spend less time worrying about insignificant things and more time focusing on, you know, what are the, you use the term cherry picking. What's the low hanging fruit that I can pluck off the tree to enrich my life today? Because I'm not going to waste my time getting on the ladder and picking that one away up at the top of the tree.
Yeah, that's great, Alan. And that kind of transitions us into our last question too. Just what advice do you have for someone that is either experiencing some cognitive changes or has just received a diagnosis?
Yeah, find some, first of all, you're surround yourself with good caregivers. I'm blessed. I've got a life partner that she is my best friend. she's been with me for so many years. I've got friends, I've got children, I've got neighbors. So get your support network lined up. They're going to help you realize that hope is not lost. Hope is what you make of it and what they can help you make of it. Find something that challenges your mind. For me, it used to be Spanish, and I struggle with that now. Although I still read some Spanish newspapers and still tweet in Spanish once in a while, but it's not good Spanish by my standards. I play chess, so I'm the greatest chess player in my own mind. So I found something that challenges my mind that I can do on the computer. Find something in your life, be it riding a bicycle, be it going to church, or find something that helps you get you out in the outdoors and get you some exercise. But most importantly, surround yourself with family and friends and educate them about whatever it is, your mild cognitive impairment, be it Alzheimer's, be it Lewy body, be it, Parkinson's, front temporal, I can go on and on. But make sure everybody knows what you have and knows how to help you.
Awesome. I feel like those are, great words of wisdom from someone who's been there before and kind of been through it all and has a very positive outlook on it. And definitely I feel like you still realize that there is good life left to be lived and you're making the most of every day, which I think is amazing. So thank you so much, Alan, for sharing your story and sharing a little bit about yourself. It's really appreciated. And I know that someone watching this will definitely appreciate it as well. So thank you so much for sharing, and we will continue this series. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Leah.